Greetings and welcome to the first of, well, either be 2 or 3 videos about my camping and cooking equipment. I've hauled my bike down here to the site of this beautiful little campsite, which I'll tell you about in a few minutes. But before I do, let me zoom out a little bit so you can see what this creature looks like fully loaded. There we go. So this is what I expect this guy is going to look like fully loaded. I just weighed it without food or water, but with all the camping equipment and that sort of thing. And it came out to 84 pounds, which is more than I'd hoped for. Not undoable. There are people that do this with 100 pounds, but I'm going to see if I can figure out some ways to cut back on a little bit of weight, which I guess means I may have to revise my packing list and that sort of thing. But as of now, 83 pounds plus food and water, not counting the clothes that I'll be wearing, which are now on the bike in here. So what I want to do is just assume that I've just found this campsite, I've just pulled up in the bike, and I'm going to show you how I would go about pitching camp and setting everything up and talking about all the different pieces as I do that. So here we go. One of the first things I'll set up is my chair, partly because I may want to take a load off. I'm very quickly going to change out of my riding clothes and riding shoes into some camp clothes and camp shoes. And once I've got this thing set up, then I might throw some stuff on it while I'm in the middle of setting up the rest of camp. So here we are on the tarp. This tarp is going to have a couple of functions. If it's raining, I will suspend it from a couple of trees, or 3 or 4 trees, and pitch my tent under it. That way I can get my tent pitched while it's still dry. That's an old trick I learned in Boy Scouts. I think I've mentioned I've done everything in scouting, from the lowest Cub Scout all the way through Boy Scouts, Explorers, president of my Explorer post. Both my sons are Eagle Scouts. And then I've been a Boy Scout leader for 35 years. So I've spent my time in the woods and camping, and I've got a lot of tricks. I'll try to share some of the tricks without completely wearing you out talking about scouting. But if I'm not hanging the tarp up to pitch my tent under it, then it's a good staging area for getting everything else set up. One of the first things I'll do is get out of my cycling shoes cleats and put on the sandals that I'll be wearing around camp. The other thing that I'll do, which I won't bore you with, is change out of my cycling clothes and into my more comfortable camp clothes for the duration of the stay, and maybe find a place to rinse out some of the cycling clothes, getting ready for the next day. The other thing, I hope I don't forget about it, that I will try to do is string up a clothesline so that if I do manage to rinse stuff out, or I just want to air some stuff out, I can do that on the clothesline. I'll also be running a line for a bear bag, and depending on the weather, I may aggressively guy out my tent so that it's really strong against any kind of wind. The tent that I'm about to show you, I've had this tent for, gosh, at least 15 years. I'm amazed that they still sell it. MSR Carbon Reflex 2, I think it's called. And I've taken this thing on Boy Scout high adventures to Philmont and Northern Tier, myriad other backpacking adventures, but it's still in good shape. When I got it out this spring for this trip, I recovered it with waterproofing spray and all that, but otherwise I think it's been good to go all along. So by the way, I will have one of my panniers that I pop off the bike pretty much immediately to throw into the tent or whatever, to keep all the stuff in the tent clean, dry, that sort of thing. So this is the pannier that I'm going to assume is the in-tent pannier. And here's that MSR Carbon Reflex I was talking about. Let me get that set up and show you what that's like. So that was the basics of getting the tent pitched. I did not put the rain fly on because on a really beautiful night, I'm not going to use the rain fly. I'm just going to lay inside there and stare up at the stars. But also because right now it'll be easier for me to show you everything without the rain fly on it. So let's wander over here to the tent. It's kind of cloudy day out on the lake, but pretty nice day. I mentioned this is a unusual kind of campsite because it's my backyard. That's the house up there, so this is my backyard. Okay, so that's the inside of the tent. You get some idea of how big it is. First thing I'm going to do is put the sleeping pad in it. That is right here. My Nemo Tensor insulated regular wide. So let's get that blown up. I will pause while I do that. As I mentioned in the tech video, this little pump, when it's not busy blowing up my sleeping bag, whoops, there we go, can be a light of various brightnesses to keep my tent lit at night. And I've got a little hanger right there. Well, I will hang it while I'm in the tent for light. Okay, the next step, the next step is the sleeping system. And this is my ZenBivy sleeping system, a sheet, a compression sack, and a quilt, kind of like a sleeping bag, but more quilty. So let's see if I can show you how that goes. Okay, that's the ZenBivy quilt sleeping system, and the bottom will tighten up real snug like a mummy bag, and the sides will get all mummy-ish too, if that's what you want. But today, with it being almost 80 degrees out here, I don't want it that way. All right, now let's bring some stuff inside and get to the next steps. You're sitting on the end of the sleeping pad, or air mattress, so don't be surprised if you rock and roll a little bit as I'm doing this. Sorry about that. We're inside the tent, and now here's the stuff that I'll be, let me get this out of the way. Something I won't be doing today, but could. This is called a sleeping bag liner, and this is by Sea to Summit. Of course, details of this and everything else with links will be down in the description below. Please like and comment and subscribe and all that kind of stuff. If you have any ideas as to how I can do this better, please let me know. So anyway, this is my sleeping bag liner by Sea to Summit. And if it's cold, maybe in Idaho in June, I will put this inside my sleeping bag, or my quilt system that I have here. And it's basically an entire sleeping bag size closed thing, like a mummy sack kind of thing, and it adds several degrees of warmth. And when it's incredibly warm out, and I don't want to be under my quilt, but I want something on me, I'll just use this by itself, which I've certainly done other times Boy Scout camping. This is one of those other things that I've had for at least 15 or 20 years. So that's a sleeping bag liner by Sea to Summit. Okay, here we have my pillow. That's a mispronunciation of pillow. I believe this is by Nemo. Are you a Nemo pillow? Let's see, get you out of the liner. This case that it's in is, it is Nemo. Nemo is also built right into it. So it's one piece pillow and liner. And it's got a really nice, almost like not velour, flannel kind of cover. And I like my pillows pretty flat, so I don't blow this up a lot, but it is blowable upable. All the way up to that big, and that will go where you probably can't see. Pardon the rocking and rolling here. Oh well, let's see what I can do. The hood of this sleeping system has a place to stick your pillow in here, so you can have your arm up inside it and be nice and toasty and on your pillow at the same time. I'm probably not showing that very well. Anyway, here's the hood. You see the hood a little bit, the pillow a little bit sticking in there? Okay. My other pillow, I've been camping for so long, which I think I've had for 20 years. This is a stuff sack by Thermarest, I believe. Thermarest. Ta-da! And the wonderful thing about this stuff sack is that if you turn it inside out, it's flannel. So what I do is take my puffy jacket, shove it in here, and then I have a down pillow with a flannel case on it, which is just wonderful. If I want 2 pillows, or if I just want this one shoved up in here for my pillow system. Thermarest stuff sack. Okay, let me get myself squared away a little bit better here. So what else do we have going on in the tent at night? I have another case here. These are all Sea to Summit bags, as I mentioned in the video about bags and such. Okay. If Mark needs to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night, he doesn't necessarily have to leave his tent. And then there are also wipes in here for that eventuality. This is my toiletries kit, I guess, because there's my prescriptions. Here's my shaver, my toothbrush, my sunscreen, insect repellent, soap, toothpaste, all that kind of stuff. And a small towel for wiping up. But I'll have a big thing of wipes, scent-free wipes, inside the tent for just cooling off at night and getting some of the road grime off myself if I can't get to a shower or a creek or a stream or something to clean up in. So everything scent-free, these toiletries will be in my tent at night. I don't want to attract bears or raccoons or anything else that might gnaw a hole in my tent or me. So that's that. I just bumped you again. That's okay. All right, let's see what's in here. This is a tough bag. So, okay, this is food. This is for cooking and stuff. This will also be my bear bag. In a few minutes when I'm breaking up camp, I'll show you how this will be hanging from a tree during the night so that bears, raccoons, nothing else can get to it. This will be my bear bag. So this is a 48-ounce Nalgene Cantene, which I will take to a nearby water source and have water for while I'm camping to cook dinner, breakfast, drink, brush my teeth, all that kind of stuff. That will be my in-camp water supply. This is dryer lint, because it's been my experience that when you're trying to set a campfire, which we won't do often, but I bet there'll be a few times when I want a campfire, dryer lint is a great fire starter. So I bring some with me. Emergency repair kit, mainly Boy Scout stuff. Lighter wrapped with duct tape for emergencies and for starting that fire. What else we got in here? This is my, for when I need water and I'm not sure about its purity, water filtration sister by Catadyne. Links down below and everything, but this is the water filtration that I will use to top off my bicycle water bottles, and if I'm concerned about the water around camp, filter the water before I put it in here. Normally I'll be doing better than this, but if I'm in a hurry, Starbucks Via is not bad instant coffee. It's not great, but it's not bad. Okay, this is the paracord that I will be using for all kinds of utility purposes, mainly hanging the bear bag, but also you just never know when you're going to need a piece of cord. And in the middle of this is a kind of heavy carabiner. And the reason I carry that with me is that that's what I use to throw it over a tree branch, as I'll show you a little bit later. My salt and pepper shaker by MSR, gift from Michael. Thank you, Michael. Salt and pepper. This is another towel. This is an REI camp towel. What the heck? I'll show it to you. And it's microfiber, this big, easy to dry out and reuse and stuff. And it'll be probably hanging on a rope somewhere near the tent most of the time. My electrolytes for the trip. I have 60 days worth of Noon. So I'll be putting one of these tablets in my water bottles to keep myself electrolytification. Okay, there's that. Okay, and that takes us up, crucially important, my Spork. I think I'll end up with a little bit more civilized eating utensils for this trip before it's over, but I'm starting with my titanium Spork that I had for ultralight backpacking back in the day. This is my stove. Those of you who are real backpackers will recognize this instantly as a JetBoil. This is one of the originals. They've progressed a long way since then, but this thing just won't give up, so I keep hauling it around with me. My original JetBoil. These things are amazing in terms of how fast they will boil water. A little bit of a pot scrubber, and then also in here, and I'll show you that last. So here's the actual stove, which screws onto a canister of propane, butane, propane mix, whatever, fuel. And then that attaches here. You fire it up and it boils water really fast. There's a lid for it, and maybe more important, oh, and there's a stand for it, which I can't show you how it works without a fuel canister underneath it, but it has a stand. Well, I can fold it out and show you that much. It folds out that much to keep this thing level. And then, this is the exciting part, if you're addicted like I am, this is the coffee press. So you put your water and your coffee in there, your hot water, add coffee, and then that is a coffee press, and it makes just wonderful coffee, super easy to clean up, and that's my cooking system. Okay, you wouldn't believe all the junk all over me right now, but I'll clean it up after I'm done with the video. I don't know why I'm talking softly. I'm outside. Don't want to disturb the neighbors, I guess. Anyway, last container is the tech one. So the main purpose of this is when I'm in a restaurant or a hotel or a warm shower or whatever, to plug this thing in and charge everything with these cords. But when I'm not charging it, I will use this as the holder for all these cords, which I will attach to my power brick here and charge the drone, the phone, the iPad, the AirPods, the watch, probably something else. But anyway, I'll have everything in the tent here so that I can charge everything up using that. I have my little ancient FM radio for listening a bit in the tent at night if I get the urge. Batteries for the shifters on the bicycle, which I can charge in the tent at night. Always have a fresh charge, not that I'll need it, but once every week or two. This is a headlamp which attaches to the bill of a cap. Not super bright, but it works. And it's kind of a backup because this thing has a really bright flashlight mode. The phone has a very bright flashlight mode. I showed you that my blower has a flashlight mode, so I don't think I'll be lacking for light when I'm out and about. Okay, I meant to bring my drone in here and my iPad and show you how I was going to do all that charging kind of stuff in here, but I guess I'll just show you those out by the bike. I will now go outside the tent and show you the rainfly. And there she is with the fly up. And the cool thing about the fly, in addition to keeping everything dry, is that it provides this space in here called a vestibule where I can pile stuff to keep out of the wind, rain, snow, whatever. Or I can sit in there with my feet sticking out and cook something here in the vestibule. Let me give you a better shot of it. There's a better shot of the vestibule and how large it is. And then there's the interior of the tent with the fly up. No big surprise there, but it's a good sized tent. I have slept in it with two men, Steve Sloss and I, at Philmont on a Boy Scout outing for 10 days. And we got through it, but it's much better with just one person. It can be a two-man tent, but I think of it as a one-man tent. So that will be my home away from home when I'm not retreating to a hotel or a warm shower or something like that. And hopefully I can find places that I find as attractive as my backyard when I'm doing that. Okay, now let me show you a little bit of droney stuff. As I mentioned in the tech video, and I think at least one other, I will have drone controls here available as I'm riding along, and the drone will be stored. First, this is where my phone goes, and it will be sitting there. But the drone will be stored in this case. There she is. Let me get her out and take her off, and I'll take a picture of this campsite from the drone. How about that? So here's my little friend. I need a name for this drone. The dog's name is Cash. Hey, Cash. But I need a name for this drone, don't I? Okay, this should be amusing. I'm usually really good at this, but now that I'm under pressure, I'm sure I won't be. I'm going to demonstrate how to hang a bear bag in a tree in a way that bears, raccoons, all those critters won't be able to get to it. I asked my neighbor's permission to use his tree for this demo, so thank you, Tony. Here we go. So I have a weighted end. Often people just tie a rock to the end of a string, but by using this carabiner, now I've got something that I can attach to the actual bag. So let's see how many throws it's going to take. You need to get it high enough that no critter can jump that high or reach that high, but you don't need to make it stupid high. Oh my gosh. Well, it went over the limb on the first throw. Now let's see if I did it in a way that I can bring it down to myself. Come on, come on. Sometimes it gets caught and you have to just rethrow it. Come on now. Come on. There you go. Come on down. Come on down. My dog's standing over there looking at me like I'm crazy. I know, Cash. It's getting down though. Here it comes. Here it comes. Here it comes. Some places where I'll be staying have bear boxes that are supposedly bear proof. But I like to use this technique partly because by throwing one rope up here, I can have my bag and Michael's bag hung from the same thing, and we'll put all food and anything else smellable in here. So this Sea to Summit dry bag, river bag, is not only waterproof but also really, really tough, which is why it's a river bag and not just a stuff sack. So carabiner clips right on, pull it up. And I don't ever pull it all the way to the top because I don't want mice crawling out and jumping down on it. And then once it's down here, you just tie it off to a nearby tree or whatever. Leave it there until morning. First thing in the morning, come get it, make breakfast, get your toothpaste and other smellables out of it. And that's bear bag. Well, I think that's about it from here in Tennessee. That was my camping gear. Some of it's pretty old. I hope you found that interesting. I apologize for some of the video issues, especially the color. I'm colorblind. My son Daniel, who is a professional YouTuber, has been helping me quite a bit, but he's in Virginia, so you do what you can. I hope to get a lot better in time to catch all the wonderful scenes I expect to see traveling across the country. I want to be posting drone videos, phone videos. Michael, at least at the beginning, will have his GoPro videos. So I hope to be capturing this journey vividly and in color. I may do another video from here in Nashville about boxing the bike up and getting everything packed and ready to go. But the next real full video will almost certainly be from Oregon as I get ready to start pedaling. The plan is to do the metaphorical thing and put the rear wheel in the Pacific Ocean and start pedaling, and about 3 months later put the front wheel in the Atlantic Ocean at Virginia Beach. The reason for that destination is that I'm going through Washington, D.C., because that's where my other son lives. And after I see him, head to the ocean. And from Washington, D.C., pretty much the best way to bike to get to the open ocean is to go down to Virginia Beach. So that's it from Tennessee. Thanks for watching. I'll see you from Oregon.
Take me back to the old Ozark Mountains, where the skies are always blue. There I want to be and long to see the boat roll